Chapter 16. What happened to two travelers among savages called the Orejones? Candide and his valet had crossed the border, but still nobody in the camp had discovered the death of the German Jesuit. Clever Cacambo had taken care to fill his saddlebags with bread, chocolate, ham, fruit, and a few pints of wine. With their Andalusian horses, they penetrated deep into an unknown country where they could not discover a single path. At last, a fine stretch of grassland, crisscrossed by streams, opened out before them. The two travelers stopped to let their horses graze. Cacambo urged his master to eat and set him an example. "How can you expect me to eat ham," Candide said, "when I have killed his lordship's son, and am thus condemned never again to see the fair Cunegonde? What is the point of prolonging my miserable days when I must drag them out far away from her, in remorse and despair?" Though he spoke these words, he did not shun his food. The sun was setting. They left the grassland and entered deep into the forest. There they dined, and after they had cursed the Inquisitor of Portugal, the Governor of Buenos Aires, and the Baron, they both fell asleep on a patch of moss. When they woke up, they could not move. The reason for this was that during the night the Orejones, the inhabitants of these parts, had tied them up with ropes made of bark. They were surrounded by some 50 Orejones who were completely naked and armed with arrows, clubs, and stone axes. Some were heating a large cauldron. Others were preparing spits, and all were shouting, "He is a Jesuit! He is a Jesuit! We will be avenged and have a feast! Let's eat some Jesuit! Let's eat some Jesuit!" Candide, seeing the cauldron and the spits, exclaimed, "We will certainly be roasted or boiled. Oh, what would Dr. Pangloss say were he to see what a state of nature is about? Granted, all is for the best, but I admit that it is quite cruel to have lost Mademoiselle Cunegonde and to be roasted on a spit by Orejones." Cacambo was not a man to lose his head. "Do not despair," he said to the despondent Candide. "I understand a little of these people's gibberish. I will talk to them. Do not forget to point out how frightfully inhuman it is to cook people, and how unchristian." "Gentlemen," Cacambo said, "I see you are intent on eating a Jesuit today. That is good. Nothing is more just than to treat one's enemy like that. The law of nature teaches us to kill our neighbor, and that is what is done all over the world. If my people do not exercise the right to eat our neighbor, it is only because we have enough other good food. But you do not have the same resources. The border with France is still closed. But, gentlemen, surely you would not want to eat your friends. You think you will be roasting a Jesuit on a spit, but it is your defender, the enemy of your enemies. you are about to roast. As for me, I was born in your country. The gentleman you see before you is my master, and far from being a Jesuit, he has just killed one and is now wearing the spoils. Hence your confusion. Should you wish to verify what I am saying, remove his cassock and take it to the nearest border of the kingdom of Los Padres. There you can ask if my master has not killed a Jesuit officer. It won't take you long. You can still eat us afterwards, if it turns out that I have lied to you. But if I have told you the truth, you know the principles of international jurisprudence, custom, and law only too well not to spare us. The Orejones found this speech quite reasonable. They entrusted two dignitaries with the mission of hastening to find out the truth. The two delegates performed their task with elegance and soon returned with good news. The Orejones untied the two prisoners, treated them with much civility, offered them girls, served them refreshments, and brought them to the border of their land, exclaiming with joy, "He is not definitely a Jesuit!" Candide, not tired of marveling at the reason for his deliverance. "What a people!" he said. "What men! What customs! Had I not had the good fortune of driving my sword through the body of Mademoiselle Cunegonde's brother, I would have been eaten without fail. After all, the state of nature is good. For these people, instead of eating me, showed me 1,000 courtesies the moment they realized I am not a Jesuit."